Happy opening day, my people. Welcome to the Guillén show here on Vida Baseball Live. Happy opening day.
The day that we thought would never get here, I had a fear that my dad would be right all those times. We're not going to play. The day's finally here. Yesterday, obviously, it started, but today is when everyone plays. I couldn't be more excited. Last time I was this excited for a season was probably Marlins opening day, 2012, whatever that year was.
No, I break down. You see my.
It's breakout.
Break out?
Yeah,
breakout.
My dad's saying that
break out the dance.
He's wearing. He's
break out.
He had a pickle breakout.
I'm so nervous about that. Was watching you guys play yesterday with the Browns.
So on that note, we have here doing it for the gram, being Guilléns. Gives you a little background on our lives and our little chaos and fun that we have. The first video has me as the main focus. So we do play the men's baseball league, and this was a video of last night's game here on Doing It for the Gram. Let's see that video.
Venga, llena. Kung Fu Panda.
No, that's illegal. You can bring Kung Fu Panda.
Hey,
come on.
Hey, all I know is I hope that Sarah's watching us right now. So we need Ozzie. We needed him yesterday. He came through big hits, defense.
5 at bats, 4 hits.
By the way, I didn't want to say this before jumping on. I think you're leading the team in average. You're hitting like 800.
I'm also.
I cannot say what I think because I know I'm going to get in trouble.
No, but I just think I'm like Mazzara.
With normal people?
No, I'm saying I'm like Mazzara.
Oh.
I only play against selective pitching. But here's a part of this. So the hits were great, and it was fun being there. And I always love hitting. It's easy, even though you're overweight. To me, it's like getting on a bike. I think fielding is the hardest part. And yesterday, I had to play right field for a couple innings, and they hit a ball in the last inning that would have been a double with drop. It wasn't a fly ball. It was a line drive. It was a tail.
Yeah.
And I've always had problems with that, even when I was good.
No, wait a minute. Let me see you. Show me your reaction when you see the ball.
No, my body.
Wait a minute. Okay.
So they're talking about muscle memory. My body reacted the way that it was supposed to, right to the ball. My mind said, you might have to try it. So you can get to it.
We don't want anyone to get hurt, but yeah, we obviously we love baseball. We play the men's league. We pay to play. That's how much
But the muscle memory is ridiculous. How great, and I only played till college. So these baseball players,
we're getting a couple MVP chants.
No, but I'm saying
but
these Major League Baseball players that are playing right now, that people are like, oh, well, he only had 4 days to get ready. He might not be 100%, but his baseball instincts are there.
Yeah,
they're playing ball. They're there to play.
I was doing an NBC show when Moncada showed up. I said, I bet you Moncada will play. And I don't know. I go,
he's ready.
This kid,
he's also his whole life, and he's also 23.
Yeah, so he's as long as you're healthy, but it's fun. It's a way to get in the game, and just giving you guys a little background there. I do manage 36. I started playing there when I was like 24, but it's something that I love baseball. That's how I celebrated opening day yesterday. But going to the next video, I'm doing it for the gram. Is we have Grandpa Ozzie Guillén going down a slide, which I've never seen before. So check this out. Doing it for the gram. Let's check this video out. So if you go to our social media page, you will see him actually going down the slide. I took this video because I don't remember the last time that I ever saw you or remember you ever being in a kid's playground.
Well, first of all, you can't remember, but I never did.
Yeah.
The thing that people need to realize is this. For most of the summers, my dad was playing. So he was at home till noon or 1 o'clock, and then you go to the stadium. So we saw the majority of the time my dad would be at the stadium. So he's getting to do things now that he didn't do with us much because he was working, making a living. So Adela and Ozzie Joseph are not only are they get to see my dad, but my dad's been living here for a while because they're in a transition of moving. So you've got to spend a lot of time with your grandparents.
How's your knee? My knee's fine. I don't know. It's like last couple of months, my knee's been
I'm saying that you're up there, so you have to get up there.
No, every time I go down, I go, Trainer. Yeah. Because at then I got so much energy. It gets you tired, bro, because that was like coming up. And she do that back of her bat. Don't forget in the winter, I was jumping from Chichirivici from can go down, get in the boat, make sure you guys get a cover, get an oyster, do the oyster meister. I want to oyster.
You know what? I mean, as long as that's what it's all about. And I guess this whole pandemic thing. If you're lucky enough to have family out there and get to spend time with them, you know, then you're lucky and you're winning. And hopefully everybody's healthy. And today in Chicago, we get to get back to something that we love. There's no Bulls on TV. There's nothing on TV.
That's a good thing. The Bulls are not on TV.
Right. There's a reason why they're not on TV. But it's great that everyone in Chicago is going to be locked in because let's be honest, the city's shutting down at 11. There's nothing to do tonight.
Baseball.
Everyone's watching baseball.
So the next video of doing it for the gram, it's again Ozzie Sr. and One actually showing young Ozzie Joseph some highlights. So one of the things that we like doing the most is watching old videos. And there's just one page on Instagram that I do not have any idea how they find these videos. It's videos from 1980s, from actually clips from the games, and they were showing some clips that we had never seen before. So watch this video of the family watching some highlights of Ozzie's early 1984, 85, 86 career.
Mira.
¿Quién es mi capitán? ¿Quién es mi capitán? Coño, contra un zurdo. Ey, de Rigetti. De Rigetti.
So this Instagram page, they literally watch games and they break down the Latino players or the Venezuelan guys. And I've never seen this many clips. Not on YouTube. This is not on YouTube. I don't know how he does it, but he breaks down all these things and a ton of highlights of my dad, which even himself he likes seeing. And he's not too young to learn, Ozzie Joseph. So these are the things that's forever going to be there. So we get highlights. We like to watch them. Anything that the guy posts, I'll show my dad. I'll show Ozzie because, you know, back then it's not like it is now. Everything now is documented.
Oh, yeah.
So back then, when you get your hands on some video footage, it's really neat to watch and really neat to share, you know, with everybody. So that's why we do it.
No, thank you. You know, I think it's great because, you know, we got to raise Joseph to do what he like to do. You know, I'm not going to say you got to be a baseball player because we was or we love baseball. I think that's a good peace of mind we have for both. You know, right now when your kids coming up, you be the same way in the family. The long day, to me, the more important thing, the long they stay together is cousins, like the way you guys are. It's a brother. I think that's the best thing can happen to any family.
Yeah, and I think you need to, you know, that goes down from one generation to the other, and it's a beautiful thing to inherit. So baseball is going to be in our life and in our blood always. Not only do we have the show, we also play men's leagues. We're actually fans. We not only watch Sox Cubs, but we'll be watching everybody in the league and trying to stay in tune because baseball's been our life for 30 plus years.
No, so. I think baseball opening day specifically here in Chicago brings a lot of memories. You know, my best friend Benji Pogowski and his family come to mind. Their dad's no longer here. Opening day for his dad was a huge thing. The whole family's there. And they've kept the tradition. And obviously for this year, I hope that the family's together. But opening day is something that people remember because it's a big day. Other than like a World Series or a playoff, you remember your dad taking you your first opening day or where were you? I think baseball is a sport that's passed generation to generation. I think that it's a sport that an uncle took you, a father, somebody took you to a game, and that's how you fell in love with baseball. It's a sport that it's very hard to just watch and pick up on, but I think that that's why it's so generational. And I think that's why opening day is so special because people can go back to their youth and say, oh, I remember this opening day or this situation.
You feel, I would say over 90% of people played catch with their dad or played.
Everyone except Dr. Fauci.
Dr. Fauci.
Oh, God. Well, he said, I played catch.
He said he played catch growing up. I'm like, I don't know what to do.
That must have been a long time ago because he forgot how to play catch. And
I think he was like
top three all-time worst first pitches. But like Ozzie was saying was, the beautiful thing about baseball that it's back is that it reminds me, you know, of our family. And today, even though you can't go to the actual stadium, there will be dads, moms, everyone watching their favorite team and you get to rally around family, which is great. So hopefully, when eventually we'll get back to people being in the stadium. But for now,
I'll be there.
That's great. So
I'll be there. So I'm excited.
Yeah.
I'll be there. So I'll be tweeting out and sending updates from the Vida baseball.
We got a suggestion that says that we should incorporate cigars into our show to just sit here.
We would love to. I think Sarah and
we got the
Evie's.
little kids
I think Sarah and Evie's. You know what? I think if there was one thing that I could love to do in life, which I'll never be able to do for many, many reasons, is smoke a cigar. Smoke a cigar. I probably have a better chance of that than smoking cigars in my house and being okay.
I don't think we moving to a new house. Yeah, I tried to
You're not
figure out.
gonna smoke.
No, I tried to figure out build
we would have to build. If I build a second part to the house and I put like
these guys
only doesn't smoke.
I don't smoke. I'm more of a drinker, so beers usually or shots if you have them around. But these guys smoke. I drink. He smokes. He does both.
So it's funny about this. So I can't even tweet it about it. How much the game has changed, and obviously I don't. I do it now in private, so I dip, and I wanted to put a picture of like one of my favorite. Cause I love the old school pictures of the guys with the dip in, and I'm like,
but you know what?
I can't do this.
You only do that one.
Only baseball.
Yeah.
No, but that's what I mean though. So like, I can't even do that. But it's today I'm thinking about. Only knows he's laughing. He knows I can't wait to pop one in in the stadium. I'm gonna be in the meeting room, so I gotta probably hide. I don't know how.
To me, going to the stadium
or sunflower seeds.
Is sunflower seeds, and I love going to the game and having the sunflower seeds, a Coke or a beer, and watching.
I'm having a hot dog before I walk into the stadium.
And hopefully it's like really, really hot. I love going to the
You know what? They sell hot dog. You say going to Marinella's house.
No, I'll be right there. That's why
they have a little place there.
Tonight, if you're not watching from home, hopefully you can go support your local bar.
Yeah,
that these people need the money.
Need the money. Go there, watch it.
Support.
Wear your mask. Support in any way you can. Baseball is bringing everyone back together. But let's get into a topic that obviously I'm excited about. So I love Ozzie Guillén quotes because I think that he is the most natural gifted quote giver. And the media loves him for that. But he is actually given one of the best quotes, I think, maybe in the past 10 years. Okay. His quote this is how good this quote was. I am better than 90% of the current managers. So I don't know how good your math is. So when you said 90%, do you know how much 90% is out of 30 teams?
But I don't want to say 100%.
Well, I don't think you're better than 100%. I think there's a couple guys that you're equal.
No, they equal, but they might be better than me. There's no question about it. But when I say this, I don't want it. I say the respect. I don't want it on respect.
Well, let's be honest. Okay, so people out there that are going all crazy in this. When you go to a job interview, or someone asks you how good are you at something, you don't say, "Oh, I'm okay." I've been successful. I'm okay. But every time someone like Ozzie says, or a Latino minority says, "I'm really good at this," they critique Dusty for doing it. They critique Ozzie. Everyone's like, "Oh, you're so cocky. You're so." So
I think it was good.
So I was trying to do the math. 90% is 27 teams. So there's only be 3 guys that he would consider either that they're better or
at my level, which would be because somebody was
so they asked me like I don't know, it can be
so let's do whatever I'm just saying. So let's start at the level. So to have a conversation with Ozzie, regardless if you believe that he's good, bad, big mouth, ugly,
I have a criteria.
Hold on. World Series in 10 years and more than 5 years managing. Okay, so the 5 years managing, I'm not even
successful 5 years.
I'm just saying because there's the Dave Martinez. So like he's a manager, World Series, but has less wins than him. So in his eyes,
he's on that level.
He's on that level. So here's the other part. So I think, my opinion, guys that I think, me personally, are good managers, okay? That if I was sitting across from them in the dugout that are currently managing right now, I would be like, this guy might do something crazy managing-wise just because I've seen him work. Joe Madden.
Yeah.
I think he's very good.
Very good.
I think Joe Girardi.
Yes.
He's a good manager. And Terry Francona. I throw in that list. No, hold on. I throw in that list, but here's the part. I think they're just as good as you and could be in that conversation, but they don't have rings. So that's where Gardy, Dusty, they all fall in that list. So the list, technically, 90%, if you consider World Series manager, and then the Dave Martinez is kind of like a hybrid, because it's okay. You can be like, I feel better. It's like, I think I'm a better world champion than you. It's like, Holyfield and Mike Tyson, they were both world champs. One feels like they're better than the other one.
Oh yeah, we could, like.
But I'm sorry,
if like Alex Cora was in the league, he's got a ring too. But
so
I wouldn't put him in.
But he's not in the league, so you can't throw him in the mix. So I'm sorry, guys that are obsessed with Rick Renteria, David Ross, everybody else that you don't have a ring or you don't have winning records. It's okay if other managers are not in the game think that you're not that good.
That's easy. Cheney.
I'm not saying no, you might be good, but they might think they're better than you.
Cheney is my friend in Venezuela, like bullpen coach. He saved me like I went driving to work and said, "What is this?" You know, people in my own country. I've been criticized because of that.
Well, they're idiots.
Oh, you know what? I know.
Well, their level of baseball.
No, but it's no matter. I think it feel like the best you are or the good you are, they hate you more in your country. I think that's jealousy or I don't know.
But I'm saying that when people argue,
we have somebody saying here that Bob Melvin, he's not on that level.
Bob Melvin, no rings, good manager. You know who's on that level that we did not mention? Mike Matheny. I think Matheny's a great manager. Do you guys think that Mike Matheny is going to sit across this year from David Ross and Rick Renteria, and Mike Matheny does not think that he's better than both those guys?
Absolutely.
You don't think that?
Absolutely.
And
you know what? This is the only.
You know who's a good manager? You know who's a good manager? You know who's a good manager? I like how he's doing. I don't know how he's managing. I think there's a good manager out there. He does not have a ring. He has great potential. I like him. He's in a weird team that does well. There's two managers actually.
The Tampa guy,
Cash, and Craig Counsell. Because I look at Craig Counsell's team and I'm like,
they shouldn't be that good.
I'm like, how is this team good? I play with him on MLB The Show. I look at the stats.
By the way, last year Counsell did it good, and those guys playing Winter League. When you play Winter League,
no, correct. No, but I'm saying like those are two managers. If you look at their roster, and
I totally agree, and I'm actually looking forward to seeing David Bell manage the Reds this year.
David Bell's an up and coming guy. Okay, but I'm saying if you consider them like what I think of them, I'm like, yeah, man, they're really good. They're big league managers. The number of guys that I don't think are big league managers that are like not good at all, it's a very short list. But for a guy who won World Series and has more than 601 games, they're coming from a different. It's like if Jim Leland said, "I think I'm better than."
But it's like the mentality that winners have is what you ask Cristiano Ronaldo, "I'm the best." You ask Floyd Mayweather, "I'm the best."
You think Tony La Russa? Like,
you have to.
I'm saying, if you think Tony La Russa, Tony's watching a game at home.
Now, if only he had this mentality in golf. And say, I'm the best.
That's different. No, I'm saying
only in baseball.
Do you think Tony La Russa is watching the game like this?
Yeah, they're asking us, what do you think about George Girardi?
Okay,
he is on the.
Okay, let me tell you one thing. Why I say this is the biggest thing. Look at the match I compete against. My social, Joe Girardi, Joe Torres, Tony La Russa, Jim Leland,
Bobby Cox,
Ron Gardner, Bobby Cox, Nate Jost. You know, I compete. Dusty Baker.
Those guys are like
Lou Pineda. I compete now. You want to put me compete against whoever it is.
Really, you like your chances.
By the way, yes. By the way, I keep saying that the media and the fans is easier now.
It is.
It was then. Before every game, I gotta talk to not much Jerry, Kenny, Rick. I gotta talk to the media. I've been criticized because I was honest. You know what I mean? Be well with my players. Look at the team I have in the past. What type of personality I have than now.
Well, I think that's what I think people forget. You know, managing is not X's and O's. I mean, that has to do with it. But in baseball, more than a lot of sports, you spend a lot of time together, and it's more about managing personalities and being a clubhouse guy. Say, I need to be just in touch with Konerko as I do Pablo Ozuna. I need both these guys to buy into my mentality. An AJ Przinsky or a Stanton to say, you're not going to play today because we're going to try to protect you. Some guys do not like that. There's guys, I read this thing that, Zidane, the coach for Real Madrid, and I was comparing him to you. He lets guys know when they're going to play or when they're not going to play in soccer. That is not very common. Something that my dad did. Hey, you're not going to play 2 days from now. So in your mind, they know. Other managers, they let you know the day of.
No, very good. Look at what's this. Right, every game, I write the lineup. I did it right after the game. Losing or winning, the lineup's up. When you leave the clubhouse, you know you're playing or you're not playing because you have to be better prepared.
Mentally, it's great. My dad saying he would do the lineup So by the time the players left the clubhouse, the lineup for the next day was already up, meaning you know if you were going to play or not. If you're Konerko, you know if you have a day off. AJ, or if you're a bench guy, you know that you're playing. So what do? You don't go out and get wasted. Hey, you know you got to play tomorrow.
Some guys don't sleep because they play.
Exactly. Some guys don't want to.
But
they're a little nervous.
Reason too,
but guys appreciate that.
The reason too is we was doing analytic. Before the game, we're gonna play.
Yeah.
We know sit there. No, we know exactly.
We have some fans saying that if you became a manager, can Ozzie run your analytics department?
I could. I have an okay here. So for the people analytics department, I have an MBA. I can code. I have a PMP. So what do I need? I'm bilingual. I scouted. So
and you know baseball.
And I know baseball. So like if you're gonna run analytics, is reading a spreadsheet and looking at the analysis.
You know analytics. You know anything. Why Joe Cora still coaching Torbe?
Joy Cora is the most analytical. No. Joy Cora was the most. The thing that's funny, the guy that wrote the Fielding Bible, he dedicated the book to Ozzie Guillén. So everybody that talks about analytics is when you come at me about like analytics, I'm like, can you read a spreadsheet? Yes. And for the manager, you make those numbers great. You put it in a one-sheeter. You're not just. These guys are not going out there and writing the code. Craig Counsell's not there coding and saying, this is the stat that I want. It's conversations, it's information. So the argument is this. How many current World Series Hall of Fame managers are managing right now?
Terry Francona. And that's it.
That's it, Terry.
Yeah.
When you start looking at when they were managing Ozzie in that era, they were all active. Bochy was active. Socha was active.
Yeah, Bochy's retired.
I'm saying Terry.
That's what I'm saying though. So like
I beat my
so no, I'm saying though. So Joe Madden,
I beat Jim Leland.
So the no, that's what I'm saying though. So that so the
people, I don't know why people.
No, but I'm saying, but so the core group of managers that was in the early 2000s to the 2010s is way better than it is now, and you can't argue that.
That's obvious.
But I'm saying that you can't argue that. So like managers now,
you do argue that
you don't know anything about baseball.
Exactly.
So everyone's saying like, oh, analytics is taking over the game. I'm like, who's won a World Series using 100% analytics? The Astros, they cheated. They have to do it again. AJ Hinch, I had him in the throne. Yes. You're nothing. I love Moneyball. It's one of my favorite books. They didn't win though. Astro Ball, I was obsessed with it. Jim Ruhnhouse, one of like the guys that I looked up to.
Oh, that was.
I'm saying that, but they cheated. So now,
wait. I remember anybody in those years. Every organization in baseball was looking up to that. We want to be like the Astros.
Yeah, because there was a.
You want to be the Nationals, but I'm saying now they should say we want to be the Nationals. Everybody's like we want to be Tampa. Tampa has no rings. Okay, everyone should be saying we want to be us. So I'm saying like the Yankees, like teams that have won. The only thing that matters is the ring, the championship ring. The Nationals pulled it off.
Well,
how they did it.
Now it's not really going to matter because everyone's making the playoffs.
Oh, that's the other thing. So everyone is making the playoffs. So we become the NBA, and if you think that he was a bad manager before, by the way, with the new rule, he would have made it every year.
He would have made it every year to playoffs. No, 1 year.
1 year he wouldn't have made it.
1 year you would have missed the playoffs in 2007.
That's what it is.
That is, in my opinion, you have a short season. I mean, you talk about watered down. Like in MLB, the one thing that I prided myself on, that I tell everybody, my group of friends or out in the bar, say, MLB, you make the playoffs, you are legit. Even with the wild card, I was like, you are legit.
Even David Ross said, I don't even like it.
Yeah, because other leagues have half of the league in it. So it's very like at the 8 seed against a 1 seed. It's very terrible. And now MLB wants to do this, or they are going to do it for this season. 16 teams. We have 30. That means that okay teams are going to make the playoffs.
That's under okay teams.
Under okay teams. And it doesn't put any emphasis. Winning a division when you were playing,
bro, we
meant something.
Games, like, and we finished third.
Yes, it would like winning a division is like it's a big deal.
The Indians won 93 last year. Nobody even talks about that.
Exactly. And you have teams like all those teams in the 90s. You guys would have been in the White Sox in the 90s. You guys would have been in the playoffs every year.
And once you get into the playoffs, okay, if you get into the playoffs, anything can happen. You have a chance for that ring.
No, but we got people saying like Joe Spinazza saying, "Calm down, only this year." You already have 60 games. You're already giving everybody a chance. You don't need to even make it.
By the way,
easier.
How does he know that it's only for this year?
He doesn't.
By the way, guys, everything that's implemented this year that works, it's going to stick forever.
I'm not scared about that.
Like the runaround section.
Like the runaround section.
The only thing I suggest, cut the season 12 games. Just play 150. I've been saying that
I agree with that.
for a long time. 162.
But that's how it used to be. It used to be 142.
Spring training. Cut spring training for a week, 2 weeks. Cut it down. Why? Well, the only way they make money is just.
But even
people get tired, man.
Even agents were saying this playoff thing is dumb because you want to sell your player like, hey, he's a winner. But if every other guy is making it, you're like, well, I've made the.
It's just a shame.
It's not two-way because it's sometimes good for the fan because
it's good because they just want teams that
okay.
They want the Sox.
Last couple of years,
But
the thing, my problem was I've been doing the TV. Last couple of years, in July, August,
season's over.
Season's over for a good percent.
70%. But here's the point: season's over. If you're gonna go 16 teams, make it a great format. I do not want to see guys sitting down and selecting their opponents.
That's also
like first team gonna grab a ball and like, oh, we get this team. It's just not baseball. Again, if we go down that route, I'm not gonna be one of those people that says I'm not watching the game.
Oh, we'll always
watch. And here on this last 3 minutes that we have, I want to touch upon the taking the knee real quick. Everyone in baseball, okay? The Yankees and the Nationals took the knee before the national anthem. When the national anthem started, some guys stood up, some guys stayed taking the knee. So this whole thing that said that both teams took the knee during the national anthem is false. Okay? This is what's great about this country. The beauty of it, of doing whatever you want. The part that's funny is guys like Gabe Kapler. Now anyone who does take a knee, they're hailed as all your previous sins are forgiven. And that's something that, again, I think that if you accept taking a knee, you got to accept guys saying what Tom Brady just said. Whoever takes the knee, I'm quitting. And that's his right. So you can't go after Tom. You can't go after Tom. You can't go after Kaepernick. If I was a manager, I'd say, hey, whatever you guys want to do, just be here.
Yeah. Well, I respect a few things about it. In my personal thing, I'm being in my knees in this country since 1981. Everything I did, everything I got, everything you guys got, I earned it. I work hard. I don't owe anybody anything. And that's why you can do whatever you want. I see Renteria say, I respect my players' opinion. I respect what they got to the mind. If my organization agree with that, I don't have nothing to that personal.
That's a personal thing.
Then I respect that about.
So I'll give you an example though. Me, Ozzie Guillén Jr. And people might take this the wrong way.
Who cares?
No, hold on. I will never take a knee. Hold on. But I believe in Black Lives Matter.
Me too.
So I might do hands up in the air. I might do my hands. I might do this. But me personally, I have a hard time with being on my knees in national anthem because of the way that I was raised.
Yeah.
In Venezuela, you don't do that. Like it's like that's just something you don't do. No matter how bad you respect the national anthem.
Somebody
will probably want me in public. But I'm saying though, so we need to realize that there's guys out there, okay, that are for this movement that are not taking a knee. We saw the manager of the San Diego Padres saying he's going to put his hands behind his back. So that's a part that people understand. Like this whole knee thing, people are just losing their mind. Like it's not about the military. It's about police violence. If you're standing up, doesn't mean that you're against it.
Yeah, I think people need to let everyone protest the way they're going to protest.
Carlos Delgado used to go. Hold on, Carlos Delgado, when God Bless America would come on and people critique them, he would go inside the dugout and not be there because he was protesting the war in Iraq. And he wasn't for it because he's always a Vieques guy. His dad was a guy that wanted Puerto Rico independence. He would just go in. There's guys that we've played with that are because of religious purposes. I remember they would go inside.
Jerry Hanson, your father, Jerry Hanson, don't believe in national anthem.
Even in the minor leagues, no national anthem.
But that's what I'm saying. But this is how it happens in the clubhouse. Oh, why doesn't the guy go for the national anthem? Oh, religious purposes.
Hey,
and no one cares.
Hey, by the way, my players, few of my players text me and said, can you manage it now? I said, why? Because you make everybody stand up for the national anthem.
Not stand up, be there. There's a difference. When you do the English thing and they said,
be there.
No, you got to be there. You don't have to be standing up. You just got to be there. Ozzie's rule was you had to be there.
Unless your organization says a rule that you can't, I don't see why it would be
as an employee of the team. And the team comes out and says, "I'm playing with the Ozzie's Browns," and the owner of the Browns says, "No one's taking a knee." I gotta respect that. I know if I take a knee, I have to suffer the consequences of that.
It's like me. I coach for Lamont High School, and we start playing, and the national anthem comes up. If I sit down,
just like the mask,
I'm free to do that, but they're going to be consequences.
Just like the mask. I'm saying, look, just like the mask. If there's teams out there that say, "Hey, every player," an owner can come out and say, "I don't want my guys to get sick with COVID. Everyone wears a mask 24/7." And as an employee, you have to say. So again, the part of the story I wanted to get into is
Okay, what my boys do now is in Monclova, living bad because he did it. It's mean.
he took it down
2 years ago.
We gotta wrap up, but that's for the next week's topic. I want to talk about the guys that get blackballed when they do something. The kid that took the knee the first time,
My boy,
Jose Canseco. We were watching highlights.
We have to talk about
We're going to talk about the blackball of baseball and like when we think somebody's a hero or not. Angel Hernandez is suing the Major League Baseball. He was behind the plate.
Yeah.
A-Rod was in the booth.
A-Rod suing Major League Baseball.
And he's trying to become an owner.
And he's coming
over. So we're going to talk about that next week. But hey, we ran out of time today, but we have so many topics. Keep enjoying La Vida Baseball. Being here on opening day week. So
my dad's heart is
his heart's not very good. The heart gets keep getting worse. Thank you very much, guys.
Hey everyone, I'm Julie Alexandria here for La Vida Baseball in Anaheim, California, in front of Angels Stadium, Camp Halo. Of course, opening day is upon us, but the Angels are not here. They open their 2020 season on the road against Oakland and will have their home opener here in Anaheim on July 28th against Seattle. So let's talk about some of the biggest storylines going into this truncated 60-game season. We've got Anthony Rendon, one of the biggest off-season acquisitions. Now, the Angels have needed a big bat at the hot corner. They haven't had one since the mid-2000s with Troy Glaus. Is he the answer that they're looking for? Justin Upton, will he have a bounce-back year? If so, he could be a very impactful bat in the middle of the lineup. Shohei Ohtani, can he stay healthy on the mound? He missed all of last season due to Tommy John surgery. If his social media is any indication, it looks like he is ready to go in tip-top shape. He's been deadlifting some pretty serious weights. Then we've got Joe Madden, the veteran manager, makes his way west in a bit of a homecoming here with the Angels. So will the guys buy into his clubhouse mentality? Will he inspire this team, and will he engage in some costumed road trips? That's what I really want to know. But one of the big questions is also how he's going to manage the playing time of his veteran first baseman, Albert Pujols, who has managed to stay healthy during this entire offseason. So very interesting stories going into this 2020 season. Of course, Albert Pujols will be a free agent after next season. So stick with us here on La Vida Baseball for your opening day coverage all weekend long. We got your back. I'm Julie Alexandria from Camp Halo here in Anaheim, California. Hey everyone, welcome everybody to La Vida Baseball Live. I'm Julie Alexandria. That was me at Angels Stadium, but I am here now back in San Diego along with Jennifer Mercedes in New Jersey. And we've got Jesse Menendez joining us live from right outside of Wrigley Field in Chicago. How are you guys? Welcome.
Welcome.
Welcome. Doing well. Thank you. Jesse, what is going on out there?
I'm going to take my mask off just so you guys can hear me a little better. I promise I'm practicing social distancing. You can see there's nobody around me. So right now, this has got to be one of the strangest sights. I am on Park and Addison. Wrigley Field is behind me. But as you can hear, the loudest thing that's happening right now is construction. There are no fans really anywhere to convene. And I know it's 6 hours before the gates open, but in years past, on an opening day, Clark and Addison would be packed. And so it's interesting that this pandemic has really forced folks to stay inside. And if people are going to come outside, maybe they're waiting till a little closer to game time to kind of hang out at some of the bars and some of the restaurants around here. But right now, you guys can see that there aren't too many folks outside of Wrigley Field.
Yeah, it almost looks like it's sort of any other regular weekday. I don't even see any jerseys behind you. Do you think people will get into the spirit maybe a little later? Because I know Cubs fans know how to turn it out. So I'm hoping to see a few jerseys.
I've already seen a few jerseys here, Julie. I've been standing out here for about 20 minutes or so. I've had a chance to talk with some Cubs fans and some Wrigleyville patrons in general, but I've seen a couple of Cubs fans. I see some news trucks setting up, so I think in a couple of hours maybe we're going to see this really get to the bustle that we're used to on an opening day. But there are some jerseys to be had. I saw a Gary Gaetti jersey.
Listen, I love that Cubs fans like bring it. I enjoy the Chicago fandom. It is real. It is real. What's the weather like? Because I know it looks a little warm.
It's very warm. You can see the sun is glistening off of my Aztec skin, and I'm coming to a perfect brown right now. It's about 80-something degrees right now. It's perfectly sunny. It's a beautiful day for baseball, so at least we have that working for us.
Jesse, when we were talking to a couple of the fans that were in the area, what was their sentiment? Are they excited, and what were they saying?
There's a lot of excitement, and you know what's funny is there's definitely excitement from baseball fans because baseball is back. We've all been waiting for this since we learned that spring training was canceled. But to be quite honest, a lot of folks are excited at what this symbolizes, and to them, it's not just that sports is back; it's that hopefully this is the first step in the process of getting everything back to normal. So yes, people are excited about Chicago Cubs baseball here. But for the most part, it seems like folks are really letting this moment symbolize the first step of opening up in general.
That's awesome. Let's talk about last night. Jesse, did you get a chance to watch the games?
You know, I was listening, and I remember I texted you guys. We have believe it or not, guys, we all talk. I was texting you guys. I was like, wait a minute. Are they piping in that sound? I was listening on the radio, and you couldn't tell yesterday's game from a game from last season. It sounded like there were fans at the stands. So it was really a pretty cool experience to listen on the radio. So yes, I was paying attention.
Yeah, I remember you were listening on the radio or watching on TV?
No, I was watching. I watched, and I have to say that like the room tone, the ambient noise, that helped for sure. As the intros, right before they sang the national anthem, and when they were doing the player intros, that was weird because there was no applause, and there was the players were kind of. And I tweeted, I'm like, guys, we need to smile. There are cameras on you. So when you're being introduced, at least smile because they looked like they were miserable. And I know that they weren't, but that's the optics of what we were seeing. So that intro part was really weird. But once the game got started and it pumped in that ambient noise of just like mumblings of fans and stuff, that was good. Created the atmosphere. Once you started watching, I didn't even really care about the fans not being there. I will have to say, broadcasters, please stop saying. And in a fanless stadium, we know. Like after the first,
we can see.
Like we know. Okay, guys, like stop. You don't need to. I thought it was good. I
one of the things that I'm interested in hearing more of as we start talking to players who are now 2, 3, 4, 5 games in. Do you think, Julie, Jen, do you think that home field advantage still matters? Because in the past, we've attributed home field advantage in large part to the fans, right? But do you think now a guy cares if he's at Busch Stadium or Wrigley Field? Do you think that's what home field advantage means? Standing in his favorite position in the batter's box?
I mean, not really. You've pretty much eliminated any sort of hostile environment unless the cardboard gets up and starts throwing it. So yeah, I think in a way, on the downside, you know, on the negative side, you've eliminated that. But on the positive side, you've also eliminated the cheers from the fans as well. But, you know, A-Rod brought up an interesting point in the broadcast of the Yankees Nationals games where he said, you know, guys are used to playing in front of empty stadiums as they're coming up. When they're playing, you know, depending on what part of the world they were brought up playing in, you know, guys in the low A, guys that are playing in college and high school, travel baseball, other than your parents, there really aren't that many. So, and especially if you're playing, you know, outside of the U.S., when you're young and you're coming up, that's sort of how you learn to play. So that muscle memory is already ingrained. So I don't know that it would make that big of a difference. Where I see it making a big difference is actually for the broadcasters who don't get to pull from that energy and feed off of the crowd and point out certain people and things and what's happening in the crowd. And also for the in-game reporters. That is such a big part of our job. And what we do is to feel that energy of the crowd, to find those people that are doing interesting things. I mean, I had a friend who was commentating on a game. She used to be an in-game reporter for a team out here on the West Coast, and a woman went into labor in the outfield, and she did the entire show on it. And those are the things during a slow game that really won't exist anymore. So I do think that it is a bit of a loss all around, but obviously for good reason and to protect everyone health-wise.
Yeah.
Let me ask you guys this too. I was talking about this with some folks yesterday, and I've talked about this with Ozzie and Ozzie Sr. Are the Astros let off the hook? We're talking about home field advantage, and I think part of the reason why we were interested in what was going to happen with the Astros this season was because of the fans. It was going to be the fans who were going to let the Astros know how they felt about what happened in the offseason. Now with the fans being eliminated, who is going to make them pay, if anyone? Or does it carry over to 2021?
Well, I mean, I would be petty, and if I were the Dodgers and any of the teams that they would be visiting, I would pump into them. I would totally do it. That would be the most realistic, and we all know it. So it's not like we're imagining that maybe they'll get food. No, we know that they would get
Yeah,
food.
Of course.
So, I mean, I would be petty like that.
Just pipe in some trash banging.
Jesse, you said it. We didn't. Yeah. Do I personally feel that they got off the hook? Absolutely. There are entire social media accounts devoted to making the Astros pay. If you want to check it out, check out Astros Shame Tour.
Absolutely. One of my favorites.
One of my favorites too. I'm not going to lie; they're very creative. But yes, did they get off easy? Yes. And also, time heals all wounds. So I think that by the time we get to next season, 2021, depending on how we get to that next season with everything that's happening, I do think that the feelings will be a bit diluted. Yeah. And I think that perhaps the passage of time will have quelled a lot of the hurt that certain fans feel and a lot of the need for retribution, because there was a lot of disappointed fans that they would not be able to be in the stands for those games. But what's so interesting is that when you look at the broadcast, and here we get into the business of baseball, right? When you look at the big games that nationally televised networks such as Fox and ESPN and a TBS will buy into and pay for, those Houston games were the first ones to get taken up because they know all eyeballs will be on those games. So I thought that was a very interesting point, that at least the networks are aware of this. And even though you have very exciting teams, the Mets and the Braves and some of those NL East contenders, the fact that they picked up all of the Houston games, I think it's very interesting.
I think also what would work, and I think there are going to be some teams that do that, like the watch parties, is actually, go into those watch parties on on the side, have a small square where we can see people watching the game, and because we all like to see other people's reactions, right? Like that is one part that I enjoy when I watch a game, is when something either really good or really bad happens, and you see the fans just palm to face and they can't, oh my God, I can't believe it, or super happy in that emotion. I do think that watch parties will definitely be a really good way of putting that fan interaction in, at least for the viewers at home.
Yeah,
absolutely. Well, Jesse,
how 2020 was last night's game getting rained out?
Oh, yeah. That's what I tweeted. I said this game, the Yankees-Nationals game at Nationals Park, getting rained out by torrential downpour, which, by the way, is part of the course in DC. Don't take it personally, but I said this is the peak 2020, right? You have this marquee matchup. You're
First
so
of all,
excited.
The opening pitch, what was that?
Dr. Fauci, a baseball player, he is not.
No. I felt bad. I wanted him to get a second chance. I wanted him to get a second chance. I'm like, oh, please. Oh,
I know.
But all right, guys, I know you have a ton to get to.
Yes.
So I'm going to excuse myself.
Well, we appreciate your time, Jesse. Thank you for bringing us.
Is this meta?
Oh, hello.
Look at that.
Should we wave to them? Should we say hi to them? Hi. Well, Jesse, thank you so much for joining us from Wrigley. Thanks for giving us that peek into Chicago, and good luck to the Cubs tonight as they take on the Milwaukee Brewers at 6 p.m. Central Time. I'm sure you'll be watching, Jesse, and we appreciate it as always.
Yeah. Take it easy, guys.
All right. Bye, Jesse. Don't melt.
I'm here in the Gaslamp district, just a block away from the stadium, where we have 2 social rooms. There's Bubs right here, and then the Blind Burro. And these are places that on any other opening day would be holding incredible, fun, loud, ridiculous opening day watch parties. They broadcast the game on multiple TVs. They have fans that are eating and dining on the street, enjoying adult beverages, and basically just pouring out onto the street here. But unfortunately, this opening day is unlike any other, unprecedented in that there will be no fans in attendance. And because we are living in California, our governor has made a mandate that all of the bars and restaurants be shut down. So unfortunately, this will be a very quiet opening day here in San Diego, with no fans in the stands and no fans able to enjoy watch parties in the neighboring bars and restaurants in and around the stadium, unfortunately. Hey, welcome back, everyone. We are ubiquitous. We are here, there, we are everywhere here on La Vida Baseball. We just heard from Jesse Menendez, our correspondent, who is out, and one of our producers here at LVB, who is out at Wrigley. And that was me down in the Gaslamp district here in San Diego, just a couple blocks away from Petco Park. And I did that video because I wanted to show people that, you know, it was a veritable ghost town outside Petco Park, where usually on any given opening day during normal circumstances, that place is teeming with people and baseball fans alike, just coming in and enjoying the whole energy of opening day. And it was a little sad. I'm not gonna lie. It was a little bittersweet to be down there, because you really just think about the stark contrast from this year as far as, you know, other years in the past, and how different it felt. And I just think baseball as a whole, it will feel different this year. I mean, everyone talks about no fans in the stands, but Jen, do you feel that it just feels a little bit different?
It does, of course, it does. I mean, even just being out and about, everything, the atmosphere is different. And opening day around the ballparks is usually a lot of fans and the jerseys and just, you know, trying to get to the games and trying to get souvenirs and trying to get to the bars. So yeah, it is, the atmosphere is different, but it's our new normal for the foreseeable future. Yeah. And you just kind of got to get used to it. It's sad. It is. I'm not going to lie. It is kind of like, oh man, but yeah, it is what it is.
It is what it is. Well, last night, let's talk about the games. We mentioned briefly the Yankees-Nationals game got rained out, unfortunately. But since they made it past the 5th inning, they made it into the 6th. The Yankees were leading. The Yankees get the win. Max Scherzer gets the loss. Congratulations to Garrett Cole, his first win in a Yankees uniform. And then we go over to the West Coast. And what a stark contrast, right? You see like DC with the torrential downpour, and then they're like, let's go over to Dodger Stadium. And it's like the birds are chirping and the sun is setting. And it's beautiful.
That's
but we saw the San Francisco Giants take on the LA Dodgers. Mookie Betts getting his first win in a Dodgers uniform as well. And speaking of Mookie, the only player to kneel during the national anthem for the Dodgers. He had 2 other players come over and touch him on the shoulder. We saw a lot of this being made of Gabe Kapler, manager for the San Francisco Giants, also kneeling with his
a couple of other players right now too. I believe Pablo Sandoval.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm happy to see it. I'm happy to see guys feeling like they are free to express themselves in that way, whether you agree with it or not. It's like somebody had commented on one of my posts. They said, you know, I don't think it should be done during the game. They should protest afterwards or whatever. And I said, well, that's the beauty of America, of USA, is that you have the right to feel the way you do, and they have the right to feel the way that they do and express themselves and do whatever it is that they feel, as long as it's peaceful, right? So that's the beauty of the country that we live in.
No, absolutely. One of the things that made me really pleased was to see the patches. Now, this was something that I had read out there, and I had heard from a source that Robinson Cano had actually worked with MLB and Mitch McCutcheon as well, had worked with MLB to create these patches, and that they were kind of used as, consultants on this to see if this was okay. But they put the Black Lives Matter patches on the uniforms, and that was for the players to decide if they wanted to wear them or not. I don't know about you, Jen. I saw almost every player wearing it.
Yes, I did too. And I applaud them for that. But like, I tweeted yesterday, and I'll repeat it here. You do absolutely nothing, and I know it's not on the players. So wearing patches or allowing your players to wear patches and putting up a sign about Black Lives Matter and, doing this whole, ceremony and taking a knee prior to the national anthem, all of that means absolutely nothing if you're not in tune with your community. And fans can see right through everything the teams and the league does. If it's not authentic, we can see right through it. So I would say, even if it's from a PR perspective, be careful what you do and decisions that you make, because they not only put your players in a difficult position, but fans will make it known, right? Whether it's this year or next year, and whether it's by watching the games, because you do need the fans to watch on TV. So I would tell teams to be very careful what they do. And it's not that you're not free to express themselves in whatever they feel like, especially ownership and management, but be careful, because if you're promoting the want for equality and social justice, you got to be in tune with your community.
Absolutely. I think I saw it as a step in the right direction for MLB, which has been so staunch about their uniforms and making any sort of alterations to the uniforms. We've seen players like Pete Alonso have to pay a fine on 9/11 when he wanted to pay tribute to first responders and alter the uniform and wear.
I wonder if that will change this year. Particularly Alonso.
Well, I think he's willing to pay the fine, is that, and the rest of his teammates' fines. But I guess I saw it as, here's an organization, predominantly white, who hands out fines for any player who wants to alter what is considered in their box of okay. And here they went out of their way to alter a jersey, to add a patch. Is there a meaning in it? As you said, if it's not backed up by action, probably not. But I think for them to make that move was at least a step in the right direction.
Yeah, for sure. And I think, and my comments come because specific teams, chose last night to make announcements that, for the most part, when you go on Twitter, you read and everybody was like, oh man, what a buzzkill. And so it's those things that you need to be in tune with your fan base, with your community, with the community that you're in, particularly. When you're in a community like, for example, for the New York Yankees, they're in the Bronx. That is a predominantly Black and Latino community. So make sure that what you're doing is authentic, is honest, and is true. And I know that the Yankees have done amazing things within the community through their Hope Week and all of that. They do really do amazing things there. But if you're going to promote the Black Lives Matter movement, be in tune with the community and you got and listen to them, like truly listen to them, because you don't want to do something that's going to feel like a slap in the face.
Let's hope that, although tweets cannot be amended or edited, they can be turned around. I know exactly what you're talking about. And to be honest, it upset me a great deal. It upset me a great deal being from the great state of New York. Yeah. And although I'm not a Yankees fan, I still am an equal opportunity New York fan. And to see them make that announcement was incredibly, incredibly disappointing. Yeah. But we move on. You had a wonderful interview with Enrique Rojas, and would you like to set that up for us and tell us about it?
Yeah, so I was able to talk to Enrique Rojas from ESPN Deportes, one of the best to ever do it, for real. I mean, he is amazing at what he does. And we talked about a bunch of different things, and we got to talking about the social justice issues and what he sees. And because he's been covering the game for so long, I asked him if he ever thought that he'd see a day when in baseball, you would see young players taking this on. And so we talked about that, and he had a great response, even him facing discrimination and here in the U.S. as a Latino journalist, as a Afro-Latino journalist in baseball, talked about that. So it was a good conversation.
All right, well,
es alguien que ha estado cubriendo el béisbol por muchos años, un veterano. ¿Pensaste alguna vez que ibas a presenciar una liga de béisbol donde vemos jugadores actuales, jugadores jóvenes en protesta contra o para la igualdad social en los Estados Unidos.
El tema siempre ha estado sobre la palestra, o sea, la lucha por tener acceso a las cosas en igualdad, sin importar la raza, sin importar el sexo, sin importar la religión, sin importar la preferencia sexual. Ha sido una batalla del ser humano a través de la historia. Y en Estados Unidos, los episodios más recientes de las luchas de los derechos civiles están ahí, y posiblemente uno de los grandes símbolos de toda la historia de la sociedad y del béisbol y de los deportes es Jackie Robinson. De hecho, yo me sorprendía que el béisbol, que fue el que ayudó a romper barreras, como que fuera tan pasivo en ese sentido. Yo felicito a los muchachos que han tomado la delantera, que han dado el paso al frente, que han aprovechado la cresta de la ola y se han montado sobre la misma. Pero lo que más me sorprende, Jen, es que ver a Gabe Kapler, el manager de los Gigantes de San Francisco, un hombre blanco que entiende la situación, que entiende el reclamo, ponerse del lado de los más marginados, de los que han sido más golpeados, más afectados, más ignorados a través de la historia. Y es un tremendo mensaje que está mandando Grandes Ligas, y no solamente los afroamericanos de Grandes Ligas, sino todo el béisbol está mandando el mensaje.
Así mismo es, y creo que también es una lucha que no solamente ayuda a los jugadores, ¿verdad? En la liga de béisbol, pero también nos ayuda a nosotros también como periodistas, porque somos también de esa minoría dentro de los que cubrimos el deporte, y esa lucha sigue. Sí, o sea, yo sé que tú ves discriminación o has visto discriminación durante tu trayectoria, y hay que seguir esa lucha y ver a los muchachos, ver a Gabe Kapler, estar ahí al frente de eso, de verdad que me enorgullece.
Claro, uno ve muchísimas cosas, uno ignora algunas. Sigue adelante, no puedes ponerte a echar todas las batallas. Hay algunas que no necesariamente están perdidas antes de comenzar, pero uno llega a un punto que se curte la piel porque ha visto tantas cosas. Uno viene de República Dominicana, que es un país básicamente de mulatos, de negros, aunque muchos crean lo contrario. Es un país con un tremendo crisol, con una gran mezcolanza, el español con la india, el español con la africana con el indio. Entonces el resultado es esta tremenda raza, hermosa raza que tenemos los dominicanos, pero uno ve en su país que el tipo de discriminación, quizás el tipo de golpeo sea de otra naturaleza, quizás sea económica, pero uno está acostumbrado, uno ha visto muchas cosas, y uno llega a esta gran nación y uno sabe que hay muchas cosas bonitas, pero también sabe que existe eso, especialmente si tú has luchado. Y lo peor, Jen, es que a veces ni siquiera eres incluido en esa porción cuando se habla de los afroamericanos, sino que para el colmo tú ni siquiera calificas como afroamericano porque eres de las minorías, pero eres extranjero. O sea que es una situación todavía un poquito más complicada, que no es el tema ahora mismo, pero definitivamente que la sociedad ha despertado y el béisbol no podía quedarse atrás. Llegó tarde, hay que recordar que llegó tarde a esta discusión, pero después que llegó ha tenido una tremenda presencia en la misma.
Racism just didn't play in my house, and my dad was super strong on that. He was super strong on listening to Black people and being an amplifying voice for the issues that they face that white people don't. And that, like, I think he understood his privilege as a white man, and I'm learning more about my privilege as a white man in a position of relative power in a baseball organization, and how important it is for me to amplify Black voices and the issues that they face that I don't. And so this movement, the spotlight on systemic racism, the spotlight on racial injustice, the spotlight on police brutality, really demonstrated how important it was for us to use our platforms, those of us who have them. And I feel like it's just critical that we take these times seriously and not shy away from the most difficult conversations and use any way we can to get messages out right now. I mean, I also think equally important is that we don't let baseball become so almost like stop the most important things from being talked about. Because we're going to get so caught up in this baseball world because opening day is going to come, that's not an excuse to stop talking about systemic racism. It's actually an opportunity to talk about it when you have the most eyeballs on you. So I think that's the thing that's important to me now, is just remembering that we have to continue to use our platform, and we don't get to just focus on baseball right now. It's not okay.
Well, you just heard from Gabe Kapler and Enrique Rojas all about everything that is happening given this world and where we are today in this moment of racial reckoning, of social justice, and what it means to them and why it is so important for this game of baseball. I'm interested to see, starting today at 1 p.m. Pacific time, this entire 28-team slate of games begins, Jen. And I'm going to be watching from the first one because the Mets and the Braves are up at 1 p.m. here on the West Coast. And I am really interested to see what happens during the national anthem. I am curious to know who's going to be kneeling.
So am I. I mean, in New York, I'm curious. I want to see what goes down in Queens. It's going to be interesting for sure to see, if any, take any. So I'll be looking forward to that as well.
Mm-hmm. What was the feel that you got from Enrique as you guys were having that conversation?
He was proud. Enrique was definitely, he's proud of the guys for taking this stance. And as someone of color, and we talked about, as someone, as people of color, this not only helps to bring awareness to the lack of Black players in the league, right? And the lack of black and brown faces in front offices, but this helps us as journalists, as women of color, and as women, Latina women and Black women want to cover the sport, but there's still so many closed doors, and there's still such a long way to get there. So players may not even realize that what they're doing is for a much larger cause, for sure. And it's not just about what happened with George Floyd. It's not just about Breonna Taylor. It's so much more than that. And I think that that's what Enrique was talking about and was getting at, for sure.
And speaking of Latinas and women working in this field, you had a chance to catch up with Linda Alvarado. Tell us about that.
Yeah, she was awesome. So she is the first Latina owner of a baseball team in Major League Baseball. She is the owner of the Colorado Rockies, and she is awesome. She is a woman to be reckoned with. She has broken ground. I mean, she started off in construction. She had her own construction company, and even when she began her career in that field, she was shunned, and she was basically meant to feel like she didn't belong. And when she then became a majority owner here with the Colorado Rockies, as a Latina, as a woman, there's like two strikes against you: being a woman, and then you're a Latina on top of that. What? In Colorado? What? And so she's awesome, and she had such wonderful things to say about not only what they're doing as a team and trying to keep the players safe and their employees safe and trying to keep as many people employed as possible. She is an advocate for hiring Latinos and for trying to give them opportunities where they can work their way up within the industry. So that's something that has been her focus, and it was really great to talk to her about that.
That's fantastic. Well, I think
of baseball, they very often think of only what's going on inside of the stadium. we are actively involved in trying to keep as many people full-time employed as possible to be able to bring people back safely, of course. But more than that, it is really a community focus that while it seems just about baseball, baseball brings people together, brings fans together in a way that is very, very uplifting. No matter who's pitching, no matter who's catching, no matter who's hitting, the game is intriguing. And people love it, particularly young people.
Now, what has the process been like as an owner to try and bring baseball back? Have you been working with the governor and the mayor in the process of all of this?
It has been a challenge. And of course, our goal was to try to act as quickly as we could since the spring training, was stopped in March. But it's looking at how do we do it in a way that first and foremost is about safety and the health of not just the players, the staff, the fans, everyone, the vendors. So we have started actually planning several months back, what would we do when would baseball come back? But more than that, how would we bring it back in a way that we could not just deliver the game, but the fan experience?
What are you doing differently? What are the Colorado Rockies doing differently from other teams? We know that this is all on a state-by-state basis, so things may change here and there, but what are you guys doing differently, particularly when it comes to the safety and health of your employees and players?
Well, clearly, that is number one, because it is not just individuals, and it's not just the team, it is our community, our families. The Rockies are strongly enforcing the Major League Baseball health and safety protocols, which are now the new rules. And this is a new normal, which seems to be abnormal in many ways, not just in baseball. But to try to communicate with the local health agencies in terms of what is happening. Different things are happening in different states, but also in discussions with the governor's office and the mayor's office to try to understand maybe how we could get open it safely, and be supportive of the initiatives that they have there. I guess the number one priority is to get back into the game, but actually the MLB guidelines and rules are stricter than the states and the cities.
All right, that was Linda Alvarado from the Colorado Rockies. It was a pleasure to speak to her. We have more with her coming up in the show, but right now we are joined by Mr. Polo Asensio, who is being so brave right now because he is under that heat in St. Louis, that St. Louis sun. Polo, welcome.
Hey, Jennifer, I mean, thank you. That's all I can say. And there's no other place I'd rather be than standing here right now, sweating from head to toes. And, I mean, it's opening day. It's the Midwest. What should we expect? I mean, obviously, opening day, July, whatever day is. I don't even know what day it is today. But hey, we're happy. We're excited. As you can see behind me, there's some preparation for fans to enjoy the game from this side of Ballpark Village, which is right behind center field at Busch Stadium. So they're going to put some tables. There's restaurants here. Everybody's social distance. My mask, I have it. It's right in front of me. So trying to keep as safe as possible, but make it as enjoyable as possible for the fans, which I think at the end of the day, that's what matters. You know, if fans enjoy it from wherever they are, it's going to be a successful season. And I think it is going to be a successful season. And how are you ladies? I mean, I'm so happy to be here and speaking English on La Vida Baseball. I'm used to speaking Spanish on our show, but now it's all about the English. It's in English. It's in English.
Yeah, it's all good. No, we're good, and I'm happy to see that the restaurants are putting the tables outside and kind of getting ready for. There's going to be at least some fan action going on there. And I wonder if the Cardinals would take down whatever it is, the coverings that are covering the fences behind you.
Yeah, on this side, I think they were not there before, but they are there for a reason. See, they don't want fans to congregate and be here.
That's true.
Without social distance. On this, you know what? I'm gonna move the camera. If you
yeah. Show us.
I mean, who cares about me, right? So, I mean, seriously, I mean, like, I don't know what you can see. See, this table's here.
Yeah.
On this side, they are usually in this building. So there's tables, 6-10 feet apart, and that's why the tarps are on this side. On this side, in front of the tarps, there's no tables. So they don't want people to stand on this side of the fence. So that is going to be open. There, as you can see, there's a TV there, and this is Clark Avenue here, Ballpark Village, beautiful Ballpark Village, brand new building up there, and then behind me, right here, you have the Cardinals Museum and another brand new building right over there.
Wow!
So I mean, this place was supposed to be pumping and rocking for opening day back in March, but now it's going to be rocking in a different way. But again, the Cardinals are taking care of their fans by allowing this to happen. St. Louis has a mandate to wear masks whenever you're in a public place, in a restaurant. But everybody is being safe, is being, again, we need to adjust to this. And if this is the way we can get baseball, we'll get it for now. Hopefully, soon enough, we'll have some fans inside. I mean, not the cutouts, by the way. It's funny and beautiful to see some of the fans out there. But hey, the roar of the crowd, there's nothing like it. You ladies know about this. The fans are the ones who dress up. They are the music to the baseball game.
Yeah, Polo, I know you've experienced so many opening days. Does this one, how different does this one feel when you take into account all of those things, from the fact that Ballpark Village, as you just mentioned, is pretty desolate right now, no fans in the stands. Obviously, the heat is what it is, but how different does this one stand and compare to the rest?
I mean, personally, right now, it's 1 o'clock, 1:15 here in St. Louis, 1:13. The game starts at 7 tonight. If this was a regular opening day, I will be inside taking notes, reading, getting together, saying hi to people. But as you can see me, I'm wearing my Jobu t-shirt. Don't mess with this rum. I'm wearing my shorts. Yes, I'm showing off some leg. And, and that's what it is. That's the difference right now. I'm not saying I am relaxed. All I'm saying is it's a very nervous calm before the actual show that the Cardinals are going to put in there against the Pirates. And let's see what happens once the game starts. Everything is different. Everything is different. And, even talking to some of the players, they feel it. They miss the fans. When you hear the players on TV saying, I miss the fans, they're not putting on a show for you. I've talked to them outside of the stadium. A couple of the Cardinal players live in my building, right, a couple of blocks from here. And I see them and I talk to them and they're like, yeah, it's different. It feels like playing on a Sunday league, even worse than a Sunday league, because on Sunday leagues you have your friends, like bashing you, your family, your kids making fun of you because you're running slow or whatever. But here, there's not much. There's not much to talk about, because it's gonna be quiet. And as much as you want to put some fake, there's a reason why there's fake. It's called fake. It's not real. You know it's there, but it's not real. There's nothing like the crowds. There is absolutely nothing like having a live crowd, even for an announcer. From the announcer point of view, you feed off the crowd. It's not the same to call a walk-off home run at home than to call a going-ahead home run in the 9th inning on the road. That happened to me last season. Benji Molina and I, doing the Spanish broadcast, we only do home games. Last year, we had a chance to go to the playoffs, and we had a chance to go to Atlanta, and and also Washington. But Atlanta, that's where we had a little more success. When the Cardinals did something and scored runs, I was like getting all excited. But then it was weird because we're in Atlanta. People are not cheering for the Cardinals there, so it felt different. So now here at home, if there's a walk-off, yes, it's going to be exciting. Yes, I'm going to be very happy the Cardinals are going to win. But the element of the crowd it's going to take away from my excitement. And you guys know that I'm very excited and I'm a very excitable person. But just thinking about that, it makes me a little sad. I'm not going to lie. It has been a very interesting day where I woke up thankful for being here, because at times I thought this is not going to happen. We're not going to have baseball. But at the same time, I'm feeling a little triste, melancólico.
Yeah.
You know, with that feeling of, I wish my family, and I'm not even talking about my mom, my brothers, sisters, my wife, kids, talking about you, Cardinal Nation. I'm talking to you, La Nación Cardenal. I seriously, I wish you guys were here. I wish the Pirate fans were here. But believe me, we're going to do the best we can to give you the best show you deserve. And now it's up to us to figure out a way to make you feel like you're going to be here in the stadium. That's the next level. We need to make Julie, Jennifer, everybody who's listening feel like they are here in the stadium, and that's going to be a new challenge. And hey, I'm up for the challenge always.
Well, you're a professional, and we know that you're going to be able. You guys, you and Benji, definitely going to be able to get the job done.
Thank you. We always try. You know, we always try, and I appreciate that. And again, thank you guys. Thank you, La Vida Baseball, for giving me this few minutes to check in from Busch Stadium, la casa de los 11 veces campeones del mundo, nuestros Cardenales de San Luis. And I cannot wait for you ladies to come visit when this happens, because nos vamos a ir a rumbear.
We are going to go party for sure.
And it's going to be a different kind of party. You watch.
I love it. Wait, really quick, Polo, tell us what does the setup look like for you and Benji for the broadcast for home versus away games? Are you guys doing the sort of partition thing? Are you in the truck? Where exactly are you set up?
We are inside the stadium. We are in a bigger booth because teams are not flying. Teams are not flying their broadcast teams. So our booth is usually a mid-size booth. But this time around, we have a big-size booth, which I can adjust and I can get used to it. So, hey, my hand is in front of my camera.
Yeah.
Sorry. So it's just a bigger booth. It's just a little different. And I had a conversation with Benji, because as a broadcaster, we're going to be in the same booth, and we also live in the same building. And as you can imagine, you know, we go out to have lunch and things like that. We talk to each other, say, hey, Caballo, you need to take care of you for me, and I need to take care of me for you. Because if I'm taking care of me, I know that you'll be fine. If you're taking care of you, I know I will be fine. So it's a trust issue. It's a trust thing. And believe me, I trust Benji. And I mean, how can you not trust anybody with the last name Molina, right?
Especially in Cardinalville. When you heard that the expanded playoffs will now include 16 teams, how much wind did that give you beneath your wings?
Well, you know what? And I'm not being arrogant. I could be. I don't know. You tell me. But I'm not worried about the Cardinals. The Cardinals are going to be there in the playoffs, either champions of the division or wild card, or now second place. So I like it. I like the idea that we're going to have a little more baseball, you know, being that we're only playing 60 games this season. But I like it for baseball. I mean, it gives a lot of fan bases a little extra hump, a little extra push, un poquito más de sabor, para que, why? So they can enjoy the season a little longer. You know, gives every, I'm not going to name any teams because that'll be a little disrespectful, but it gives every single team a chance to get there. You know, today, everybody's in first place. All you have to do is play 60 more games, win more than you lose, and chances are you're going to have a chance to get there to the playoffs.
You make it sound so easy.
It is. Julie, it is. It is only as hard as you make it.
Score some runs.
You know, see the ball, hit the ball. See the ball, catch the ball. Make a good throw, make the good decisions on the road, and have the best Spanish broadcast. You'll be fine.
I love it. Well, thank you so much for being here. We appreciate your time. Thank you for getting to the ballpark early and sweating for us.
No, and I'm giving you a tour. I mean, who does this for you guys?
I mean,
that's why we love you.
We love it.
And we love you, and thank you for all the support for Pólvora, Voz y Diamante. And you don't know, there's a very, very interesting baseball show every Thursday live at about 12 Chicago time, 10 California. But then again, it lives on La Vida Baseball on Facebook. If you haven't had a chance to try it. Even if you don't speak Spanish, try it. I guarantee you will enjoy it because we have so much fun with that show. And this week we had John Morosi. I mean, seriously, John Morosi.
Speaking in Spanish.
Speaking in Spanish. All right? Come on now. Hey, Jennifer, you speak Spanish. How come you haven't been there?
Porque no me han invitado. Y'all haven't invited me, so
hey,
I'm just
it's breaking up. It's breaking up. I gotta go now. Later.
Wow. Welcome back, everybody. That was the ring ceremony for the Houston Astros with some beautiful photos by Gene Fruth. And of course, before that, we heard from Polo Asensio, Spanish language broadcaster for the St. Louis Cardinals. He is always so much fun to have on the show. I love him. Sweating it out for us, like out there. He got the ballpark
I love the little tour that we got to see the tables that are being set up. So it was cool. Thanks, Polo.
Yeah.
I'm sorry
That's
that
awesome.
you had to sweat, but we appreciate it.
All in the name of baseball. All right. Well, now we're going to go to an interview that Ozzie Guillén Jr., our very own Mr. Wait, we call him the Oso, you know. Ozzie Guillén Jr. did with Martín Pérez. Check this out.
Sabes, como te digo, al principio cuando nos comentaron de todo el protocolo que había que hacer y que teníamos que acatar nosotros, pues pensamos que iba a ser difícil, pero van pasando los días y vas experimentando muchas cosas nuevas que para nosotros como jugadores de béisbol nunca nosotros nos había pasado. Pero si queremos jugar a béisbol, estas son las cosas que tenemos que hacer para pues, poder jugar los 60 juegos, la temporada corta y también pues llevarle alegría a los fanáticos que tanto esperan la temporada.
Martín, ¿cuándo fue la última vez que jugaste en un estadio sin nadie en el estadio? ¿Te acuerdas?
Hace demasiado tiempo. En ligas menores, bueno, tú sabes, yo también, esos estadios a la vez es como chimbo jugar sin fanáticos. Pero una vez que tú llegas a Grandes Ligas y sabes que todos los días vas a tener el estadio full y una cantidad de fanáticos que te están viendo y están pendientes de tu carrera, pues es divertido. Pero es la única opción que tenemos este año, ¿sabes? La pandemia ha hecho que ha cambiado el esquema de todo el mundo y pues como te digo, adaptarse a la situación y jugar el béisbol que tenemos que jugar.
Es un poco diferente, obviamente, porque siempre estás solo en la lomita, aparte de varias jugadas. Hemos visto a algunos jugadores usando máscaras para batear, no sé cómo será o qué difícil. ¿Alguno de ustedes ha considerado una máscara para pichar o es una cosa que no lo harías? O si tiene que llega el momento, tienes que hacerlo, pero ¿le has pasado eso en algún momento de pichar con las máscaras puestas?
Esa fue una de las preguntas que hicimos nosotros como pitcher. Y nosotros teníamos que usar máscara y es difícil, ¿sabes? Es difícil, no es la misma... No es fácil respirar a la hora de tu pichar y es incómodo, pero si en algún momento pues la MLB pues nos dice a nosotros como pitcher que tenemos que usar las máscaras, no que hay otra sino que usar. Hay que experimentar eso y ver cómo se siente.
¿Cómo fueron esos 4 meses? Obviamente estaban a una semana de empezar la temporada, se para el béisbol y luego no había tiempo de regreso. ¿Qué hiciste durante esos 4 meses y pensaste que iba a haber temporada o en un momento dijiste, mira, ¿sabes qué? Creo que este año no vamos a jugar?
Se veía lejos. Todo, ya todos estábamos listos para la temporada, todos ya estábamos ready. Y en el momento que dijeron que ya pues no va a haber más spin training y no sabemos cuándo vamos a empezar, pues como te digo, se veía súper lejos. Yo me quedé en Fort Myers, donde están los campos de entrenamiento, practicando en mi casa, haciendo una que otra cosita para mantenerme listo. ¿Sabes? Creo que ha sido el tiempo más largo que yo he esperado para jugar béisbol. Era desesperante a la misma vez no saber cuál era el rumbo que iba a tomar esta situación, pero al final, bueno, se llegó a un acuerdo. Nosotros como jugadores estuvimos de acuerdo en todas las cosas que ellos plantearon y estamos jugando, pero no fue fácil, ¿sabes? No fue fácil porque estamos acostumbrados a que ya esta fecha, pues, llevamos un rato jugando y estar en la casa metido, no haciendo nada, viendo televisión, ya no me nada que ver. Era difícil, pero a la misma vez yo creo que también tuvimos tiempo de pensar algunas cosas y de nosotros, pues, buscar la conclusión algunas cosas en tu vida también y yo creo que nos dio chance también de compartir, bueno, los que tienen a su familia aquí, de compartir con su familia, de compartir más con sus hijos, que eso es un tema que a nosotros a veces pues, es muy difícil porque andamos viajando todo el tiempo. Pero fue algo que fue desesperante, ¿sabes? No tener fecha y ya las últimas semanas de negociación nosotros lo que queríamos era jugar y se dio y bueno, estamos aquí. Ahora cada quien a hacer su trabajo y a mantenerse sano.
I love a good opening day story. We want to hear your opening day stories. If you are watching right now, hit us up on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram at La Vida Baseball. Let us know your favorite opening day story. We'll read some on air. I want to know who you saw, where you were, and what made it so memorable. I've had a lot of fun memories when it comes to opening days. Jen, I know you have some good ones too.
I do, but you know what? And for me, really the only one that sticks out was because it was impactful for me was just the first time that I ever got to cover an opening day as a journalist. As you know, that is probably, if it's not the World Series, like postseason stuff, it's one of the busiest days when it comes to media. So it was always difficult to get credentialed and all of that. So the first time I ever covered an opening day at Shea Stadium, I felt very accomplished. I was like, oh God, I'm here on an opening day. So that for me is one that sticks out. Definitely. And I know fans continue to send us your stories because we've been sharing them, retweeting them and reposting them. We love to hear those opening day stories. And then as the season goes on, we want to know what are some of your favorite baseball memories, because we all know we have a ton of those.
Oh, yes. And we love it. And that's so funny you mentioned Shea, Jen, because you and I both started with the Mets. My first opening day was actually not until 2009, first year at Citi Field to celebrate the opening of Citi Field, brand new stadium. And that was so incredible because I remember feeling so small and so insignificant in such a huge forum. And it just felt bigger than life. And I also remember seeing Keith Olbermann on the field, and he was wearing a New York Cubans jacket, and I had no idea what that was. And that's what started me on the research that led me down the rabbit hole when it came to the Negro Leagues, and I found out who exactly the New York Cubans were. So thank you, Keith Olbermann, for informing me way back then. All right, well, now let's go to another segment of that wonderful interview that Jen, you did with Linda Alvarado of the Colorado Rockies, talking about her favorite opening day memory.
We were in heavy competition. There had not been an expansion of baseball since 1978, and this is 1991, and we're in a competition to be awarded the franchise. And nobody gave us a chance in the world because we didn't have the population, but there was no real team between Los Angeles and Kansas City. But it was really us getting in the game, writing some checks, passing referendums to make certain that we could not just compete, but really be well represented in our city in the big leagues. The opening day, I remember, is our first opening day. And it was at Bronco Stadium at the time, because there was no Major League Baseball stadium where we built it. And that stadium was on locks. So baseball, it was a certain configuration, that it was moved out. They had minor league teams here for baseball. And there were 75,000 people in the stands because they have, great capacity. And the city is going crazy. Yay. I walked on the field with the other owners and just looking at the excitement, the pride that the community had. What I remember most, though, is I received a letter about 2 weeks later from a Hispanic woman who I did not know. And she said, I had to write you a letter. I recognized you because you were the only one wearing a dress, only a girl. And as your hair began blowing in the wind, as a Hispanic woman, she said, I started to get emotional and cry. She said it wasn't sadness. She said it was emotion that she was going through, emotional thing that, like our parents and grandparents and grandparents, as Hispanics, working hard, doing things, but we can achieve extraordinary things. And we're doing that, taking some risks, getting in the game. There's no Hispanic player out there just to represent a percentage or I'm there because I'm Hispanic. They're competing every day and working very hard to get better at what they do. But she said, what I want to say is you're inspiring not just Latinos, but Latinas, particularly young Latina girls, that they too can not just dream, but achieve their dreams.
That's amazing. I have chills right now because it is a true story for, I think, many, many Latina women. You gave many women a freedom to aspire to something greater than teacher, lawyer, or et cetera, et cetera. You know, like there are certain jobs that you think that these are the only jobs that I can have as a woman. These are the only jobs I can have as a Latina. And to see you represent women in not only in baseball, but also with your construction company as well, which is extremely male dominated industry as well. I mean, you've done so much for women and for Latinos as a whole. So thank you again for all that you've done and for all of your success. This is amazing. And I hope one day, sooner rather than later, we can do this in person.
I can't wait, Jennifer, to do that. But kudos to you in your work in a non-traditional area, so to speak. But Latinos and Latinas are beginning to dominate. Your experience in interviewing players and managers and owners has been incredible. Gracias por todos. And as we get through this new norm, our community will continue to thrive.
Well, when it comes to opening day, obviously a big question on everyone's mind is how these 60 games are going to play out. And specifically, I am very interested to see how managers manage their teams, manage the playing time of some of their veteran guys, and also giving opportunities to younger guys. So I had a chance to catch up with Gabe Kapler, manager of the San Francisco Giants, to ask him just that. What do you think about opening day? What are your thoughts? Sort of where's your head at when you think of what that looks like? Because it obviously will look a lot different from what you may have anticipated.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be a really interesting day. It's going to be the first time I've ever played in or been a part of a game in a ballpark where there's no fans. And one of our mental skills coach came to me and he was telling me about a Nike campaign years and years ago with the slogan, like, greatness doesn't require an audience. And he kind of wanted to adopt it somehow, some way, or create some alteration on that saying. And I thought it was super appropriate. But I think that's going to be the thing that is most foreign, is not having the sounds that you normally have in the ballpark. And we're going to have ambient, like, crowd noise. And that track is going to be provided by Major League Baseball. But I just think it's going to be strange to look up and not see anybody in the stands. And then to be able to hear the commentary in the opposing dugout, by way of example. You know, we're so used to yelling and knowing that it's not going to carry onto the field. Just knowing that we have to kind of actually monitor our voices is something that we've never had to deal with. So I don't know what to expect, but I know it's going to be a whole lot different.
That is a great point. I didn't even think of that. You're so right.
Yeah.
You're so right. I mean, you obviously, whatever you stay on the field stays on the field, but as a player, as a former player yourself, I mean, how much do you feed off of that energy that a crowd gives you?
I think, again, like knowing that on a 30-man roster, you're going to have a portion of them that like are really energized by fans, a portion of them that don't even know that the fans are there when they are there, and maybe a portion of them somewhere in between. So me personally, as a player, I always felt the energy of the fans. I can remember 2 times that stand out. One is in the on-deck circle at Fenway Park and having fans kind of right on top of me and kind of sending the message that they're depending on you. You know, we're depending on you was verbalized, right? So you kind of, that heightened sense of urgency, the heart beating a little bit faster as a result, you know, that's obviously going to be removed from the stadium now. And then in Dodger Stadium, I felt the same thing, being back in my hometown in Los Angeles. And this was coming in for the first time as a Texas Rangers player, but really feeling like family was in the stands, like people that I had known since I was a child, and feeling like them surrounding me too. So yeah, I've had moments, and I think there are many players who feel the same way.
Well, 60 games, much different from the usual 162. Does it level the playing field at all?
I think it does. So I think the way it levels the playing field is normally at the end of July, you kind of you take note of where you are, right? Like you're either in it or you're ahead or you're not close, and everybody's gonna be in the same starting spot, right? Like so. Everybody's kind of in a playoff race immediately when the season begins, and I think that's pretty exciting.
Well, that is the subject right now, is the 60-game season. How's that going to work out? I had a chance to also speak to Enrique Rojas about that particular issue and if he thinks that this 60-game season is legit. Let's listen. Queremos saber qué se espera para esta próxima temporada 2020. ¿Qué tú ves para esta temporada?
Lo primero es que, gracias a Dios, que finalmente va a arrancar el béisbol. Será lo más tarde que uno puede recordar en estos tiempos modernos, pero afortunadamente tenemos béisbol con una doble cartelera que va a ser transmisión de ESPN, los Yankees visitando a los Nacionales y además los Gigantes a los Dodgers, una rivalidad del oeste. Ya el viernes y el sábado entonces cartelera completa. Será una temporada corta. El que tenga un mal arranque podría estar despidiéndose temprano. Recuerden que además la fecha tope de cambio va a funcionar, pero va a funcionar bien un mes después de que arranque la temporada. O sea que habrá que tomar decisiones muy rápidas sobre dónde tú te encuentras, especialmente si hay algún acuerdo entre la Asociación de Peloteros y la Oficina del Comisionado antes del primer lanzamiento sobre expandir la postemporada, que abriría más cupos y más equipos estarían en pelea para esa fecha tope de cambios del 31 de agosto. Pero una temporada tan corta es algo como lo que vivimos normalmente en el béisbol del Caribe.
Exactamente, hay muchos que tal vez preguntan que si es una temporada que en realidad tiene mérito por tan pocos juegos, pero ¿qué tú piensas sobre esos comentarios?
Lo que es igual no es ventaja. El problema sería que le dieran 100 juegos a los Yankees, 120 a los Dodgers, 40 a los Azulejos, 20 a los Orioles de Baltimore, pero todos los equipos tendrán 60 partidos, 40 contra los rivales divisionales, 20 interligas con los equipos de la misma división del otro circuito. Todos arrancarán en cero. Lo que se consiga en ese espacio de tiempo tendrá un gran valor para el que gane, sin importar que el que pierda trate de desmeritarlo. De hecho, en 1981, la gente siempre habla de esa última serie mundial de los Dodgers y los Yankees, que ganaron los Dodgers con Pedro Guerrero, Steve Jagger, Ron Cey, compartiendo el jugador más valioso. Bueno, pues muchos olvidan cuando la destacan, que fue una temporada recortada por una huelga que se dividió en 2 mitades y nadie al final de la misma le restó importancia a lo que lograron Yankees y Dodgers y a esa serie mundial que siempre se vive recordando. Y los Dodgers no les restaron importancia al campeonato que ganaron, que fue el penúltimo que han conseguido, Jane.
Oh, just talking about the season is getting me so excited for these games all coming up today. And one of the hot teams that everyone is talking about that actually may have a chance, because it's so interesting, Jen, how the playing field is leveled a bit when you talk about 60-game sprint and then the playoffs being extended to 16 teams. Just so many chances, so many opportunities for young, exciting teams who may not have gotten to where they may get to. Who knows? It's all speculation. But I had a chance to catch up with Dennis Lin, beat writer for the Padres for The Athletic, who was talking about a very hot young star that everyone will be watching this season. Let's talk about another very fiery young player that everyone is very much looking forward to seeing this season. And Fernando Tatis Jr., he missed the last month and a half due to a back injury last season, but put up some impressive numbers. I mean, at this point, 22 home runs, 16 stolen bases. How does he hope to improve defensively and also improve on those numbers this season?
Yeah, defense number one is that's a key thing for him this season, because last season you saw some really good highlight plays from him at shortstop, but at the same time you saw him kind of flip some routine plays, and that happens with a 20-year-old. He's 21 now, but he was 20 back then, so it's not unexpected. So defense is number one for him. I don't think anyone's too worried about his base running or his hitting. Obviously, he had some good luck last year hitting over 300, but I don't think he's going to get worse than he is. So that's exciting for Padres fans, the power speed combo there. But I would say, yeah, you hit it on the head with the defense being number one. That's going to be something to watch for him. And I think this season sets up really well for him, because he played winter ball a couple of winters ago and for his hometown team, the Dominican, and they played about 60 games and they won a winter ball title. So in a way, he's kind of used to the schedule, at least in the winter, and that's something he's done before. So I think 60 games for a guy who only played 84 games last year, that's something that he's going to be able to navigate even as a 21-year-old.
That was Dennis Lin, San Diego Padres beat writer for The Athletic, talking about Fernando Tatis Jr., who I am personally very much looking forward to seeing having some playing time this season, building upon his numbers that he was able to put up last season. Very exciting player. We love him here at La Vida Baseball.
Yeah, and he's he's so great to see. And speaking of somebody like Fernando Tatis and international players, so I just received a press release talking about the number of international players. So opening day rosters feature a record 288 internationally born players, 28.1% of players born outside the U.S., spanning 20 countries and territories. Dubon, first ever player from Honduras on the opening day roster, record total of 109 players from the Dominican Republic. So shout out to them international players. Yes.
That's awesome. That's fantastic. I wonder if they have what did you say? What was that? 20 countries?
Yeah, spanning 20 countries and territories. Yep.
Could you I don't even know if I could name all 20 countries. You've got the five that come to mind. I mean, even and they say territory, Puerto Rico being a territory of the U.S., but I'm sure that's included. So you've got Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, Curacao comes to mind, Colombia comes to mind,
and Honduras was
right? Mexico comes to mind,
and then I'm
trying to name up Panama.
And an international is literally, do we have anybody from Europe playing? I don't know. Do we?
I don't know. Well, oh my gosh. Wait. And then we have the one, the player from Brazil. So that's
Brazil.
9.
Yeah,
there's 9, but there's 11 more countries that I'm not thinking of. That's crazy.
Mexico, obviously.
Mexico was included in that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. There.
And I mentioned oh my goodness.
But yeah,
British Virgin Islands. I don't know. Well, we'll have to give you guys that list. I feel terrible.
Yeah, maybe British Virgin Islands. Oh, Cuba.
Oh, Cuba. Oh my gosh. How can I forget Cuba?
So here it is. So Puerto Rico, Canada, Japan, Colombia, Panama, South Korea, Australia, Nicaragua, Taiwan, Aruba,
Australia? There's Australia playing in the major league?
It says there's 3 Australians. 2 from Nicaragua, Taiwan, Aruba, 1 from Aruba, 1 from Brazil, 1 from Germany, 1 from Lithuania, and the Netherlands. So yeah, very.
Who are these people?
It doesn't. I wish it would have said their names. It
I
just
want
says the
names.
numbers. Yeah, I want
Right.
names too. The Houston Astros and Minnesota Twins have the most internationally born players with a total of 15 on each roster. They're followed by the Chicago White Sox with 13, the Marlins with 13, and the Yankees and Cleveland Indians to follow. So that's awesome. Pretty good.
That would be a really good Twitter trivia question. We should put that out there to see how many people can name the. I'm actually very disappointed in myself that I wasn't able to.
So here is the list of players. I just had to finish scrolling. Aruba, Xander Bogaerts. Australia, Liam Hendricks, Lewis Thorpe, and Aaron Whitefield. Then you've got Brazil, Yan Gomes. Canada, Josh Naylor, Tyler O'Neill, James Paxton, Nick Pivetta, Jordan Romano, Mike Soroka, Abraham Toro, Joey Votto, Rowan Wick. Then you've got Colombia with Jorge Alfaro, Jose Quintana, Harold Ramirez, Donovan Solano, Julio Teran, Gio Urshula, and Mierbis. I do not know how to say the name. Viloria. Cuba, 22 players. Wow. Jose Abreu, Yonder Alonso, Jordan Alvarez, Rogelio Armentos, Ronald Bolaños, Yoenis Cespedes, Chapman, Almedis Diaz, Yandy Diaz, Roenis Elias, Yasmani Grandal, Lourdes Gurriel, Yuli Gurriel, Dani Echevarria, Guillermo Heredia, Jose Iglesias, Raisel Iglesias, Johan Lopez, Johan Moncada, Rangel Ravero, Luis Robert, and Jorge Soler. I mean, the list, and I'm not even going to read the DR list because
I was going to say, like, props to the DR guys, but Jen, you don't even have to go there because you were going to be here all day.
Yeah, we'll be here all day. I'll finish off with Curacao, Ozzie Albies, Kenley Jensen, Jonathan Scope, and Anderton Simmons. But the DR list, yeah, we'll be here all day.
The DR list will be here all day.
Germany, Max Kepler. There you go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, who's from the Netherlands?
Here, let's look.
And
So
I'm assuming they mean the Netherlands proper, not Netherlands properties, like
I assume so. Honduras, Mauricio Dubon, Lithuania, Dovydas Neverakas, Pittsburgh Pirates. Netherlands, Didi.
I see that. Okay, but okay. Well, all right, got it.
Yeah,
got it. Didi Gregorius, of course.
Yeah.
Sir Didi
Gregorius. Taiwan, yeah, a couple players from there. Venezuela, long list as well. Miscellaneous. Miscellaneous is Vladimir Guerrero Jr. because he was born asterisk in Toronto. I don't know what that means, but
well, Toronto counts as Canada.
Yeah, so I guess because he's
American citizen,
or he's from the DR. I guess I don't know. I don't know what they mean with miscellaneous. I mean, he was born outside of, and I guess his ethnicity is Dominican. Oh, so here, Dominican descent, but born in Montreal, Canada,
but and also an American citizen.
Yeah, and then
right?
it says,
oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, and then with Jesus Luzardo, who plays with the Oakland A's, from Venezuelan descent and born in Lima, Peru. So I guess that's why they kind of wanted to have outside of that box. But interesting list to
very
for sure. Yeah, it's really. Thanks for sending that, MLB. That's fun to know.
That is very cool. Well, right now we have someone who is ready. We've got our third amigo. We've got Ozzie Guillén Jr., who is joining us live from the South Side. Ozzie, are you on?
Es muy emocionante y que un día te llegue la noticia, Giordano no va a estar más con ustedes, es lo más difícil que puede pasar. Que se hayan ido tan temprano con un futuro brillante por delante, y esto de verdad que todavía a nosotros nos tiene bien mal porque nos hace mucha falta.
Kansas City did the right thing, showing the Giordano's mom how important is the family for us.
Fue adentro del clubhouse, vio el locker de Giordano, que todavía está ahí. Todos las miraron a ella, todos la abrazaron. Es algo que yo pensé que iba a llenar, que llenó a la mamá de felicidad, de hacerle olvidar un poquito la tristeza de que haya perdido a su hijo.
We got like a big flag with the A30 in it. That was pretty tough for us. We got crying there, so it was pretty sad.
Que la mamá de Giordano tire la primera pelota y nosotros todos aguantando la bandera con su nombre, haciéndole todo ese gesto tan bonito. Mira, de verdad que no cabe palabras para todo lo que uno siente en ese momento.
De que toda la fanaticada en Kansas City la aplaudiera, de que ella supiera que la fanaticada está con ella. Yo tengo que darle las gracias a la gente de Kansas City. Algo bien bonito que no vamos a olvidar. Y todos queremos a la mamá de Giordano como una mamá para nosotros.
What are you expecting for this 2020 season for all the fans to know?
I'm expecting great baseball, right? And then I'm very happy. Like, it's crazy. Like, I'm in the circle, but good time for White Sox baseball because like I was playing Call of Duty with one of my friends. He's a Cubs fan. He's like, he's a Cubs fan. I was like, all right, I'm gonna ask you one question though. I was like, we like the Cubs more. I was like, but would you rather have every player in the Sox wearing the Cubs jersey or every? And he said, yeah, he'd rather have all the Sox players.
Well, no, trust me, you got some monsters.
How much do you think that this 60-game sprint will help or perhaps hinder a team like the Mets, taking into consideration how they're built?
I think the Mets are one of the perfectly built teams for something like this. Because I've been thinking a lot and I've been reading a lot of different experts, but I think for a 60-game sprint, you want that balance of youth and that energy and the legs basically to play all these games in a condensed period and avoid injury or fatigue. But you also want the veteran experience that's going to help these young guys navigate what is an unprecedented campaign and to keep that ship, steered in the right direction. So you look at the Mets, on the one side, they have the Alonsos, the McNeils, the J.D. Davises, the Dom Smiths, these young guys that bring that energy, that bring that juice to the season. But then you also have the Wilson Ramoses, the Yoenis Cespedes, the Jacob deGroms, those guys, the Robbie Canoes. Talk about experience,
veterans.
Right? Yeah, those are the veterans that I think it balances it out on both ends. And you've got reliable starting pitching, guys who have been there before. That whole rotation is guys who've been all-stars in the past, Cy Young Award winners in the past, and then a bullpen that I think, if obviously some tough years for a couple of those arms last year, but when you look at guys hopefully getting back to what their skill set and their pedigree has proven to be in the past, I think bullpen usage is going to be a huge thing for a lot of teams this year. So obviously pending all the usual pendings, right? Health and unforeseen circumstances. I think honestly the Mets are one of the better built teams for this 60-game stretch run, which is why I'm super excited to see what they can do.
How much?
Baseball is more than a game. It's a way of life. And for many like us, it gives life. We play for our country. We play for those who came before us. We play for our gente. We play for our family. To us, family means everything. Our orgullo is as distinct and colorful as our people. Though our words are flavored with many accents, one thing is for certain. We all speak the same language. Baseball. It's in our sangre. It's in our lineage. For as long as the game has existed, we have brought our own sabor to it. Our history is the game's history. Our amor begins on makeshift diamonds, on islas bonitas and comunes around the world. Our culture informs how we play the game. With passion, with beauty, with grace, and with strength. To play the game, we have persevered. For every triumph, we have sacrificed. The game has many stars. We grow up playing on nuestra tierra, dreaming of the day that the game welcomes us home. The bonds forged on the diamond are unbreakable. We grow up loving the game, in hopes that the game loves us back.
Hey, welcome back, everyone. And we're back. I'm Julie Alexandria with Jennifer Mercedes here. And joining us now via phone is Ozzie Guillén Jr. He is fresh off the Being Guillén live show. Ozzie, thank you for joining us. I know that you are out at the field on the south side, the White Sox taking on tonight. What's the scene look like? If you could describe it, does it feel like
it feels like The Walking Dead. No one's around. I just saw the general manager of the team get out of his really fancy car and walk in. I can see the tent. Actually, the Minnesota Twins just pulled up in two different trucks. But the feel's different. You know, usually when you're here opening day this early, especially being in Bridgeport and being in the neighborhood, you know, people, especially when the day it was this night out, you see people trying to tailgate. But no, there's just a couple of fans that have come up to the statue to take a picture, but it looks like there will be no baseball game today. That's the feeling right now out here, which is kind of creepy, but it's gonna work, you know. It looks, there's a lot of security and a lot of barricades, and you know, from what section you can walk in. So it's just not your typical feel for an opening day here in the south side of Chicago.
Did you get a chance to watch the games last night?
I did get a chance to watch the games last night. We're back to baseball. We're back to Angel Hernandez missing calls. You know, just how we like it.
He was trending once again. Yeah,
he was. You know, it's funny. You know, he needs a whole reality show on himself. But it was fun. It was, you know, that's part of the game. It's part of the aura of it. It was a good game. You know, I think the pitchers were trying to get a feel for what they were doing. The hitters were trying to get a feel. But you know, the Yankees looked great. Everybody looked awesome. Johnny Cueto, you know, it was a spectacular game. It was a good turnout, and the ceremonies before the game. Dr. Fauci. I hope that's the only thing that he doesn't. It wasn't being honest about. I'm good that he's a good scientist. There's no way that man was playing catch growing up with that throw. I lost all my money. He was
Ozzie, there's something to be said for nerves, even though there were no fans in the stands. I'm sure he was very nervous.
I thought he rushed it, right? I think he was too quick with it.
There was nobody in the stands. You know,
Yeah.
I understand when there's people in the part that I think was funny was that he claimed that he would play a lot of catch and that he had claimed all these things. But it was good. It was a good turnout. The game did not feel as awkward as I thought it would. With the fan noise, I think that the virtual fans in the stands and then the noise, I couldn't really tell. Like I knew that it wasn't real fans, but it didn't take away from the experience. So, and I think that comes from the broadcasters to the people, how they covered the game. So it was good. It was a good opening day.
Yeah, absolutely. And a very newsworthy opening day. I feel like I was checking Twitter and refreshing because every 10 minutes it was like there was a new breaking news story. One of them that there are 16 teams that will be involved in the playoffs. The league has expanded the playoffs to 16 teams this year. Ozzie, how does that affect and what does that bode well, do you think, for the White Sox?
You know what? I think it does go well. Again, this is I'm stuck in two ways. I'm only 36 years old, and again, I'm a person that liked the game the way it was. The game now is more about entertainment, and I don't care what anybody says about that. We want to be entertainment. We want to be the NBA. We talk more about players, what they write about on Twitter, what they wear, than what they actually do on the field. I think 16 team waters it down. I think it's any team can get in now. I think fans will enjoy it, yeah, but for the baseball world, it's like you couldn't get in 60, now you need 16 teams. Again, that's what they want. It's all about the ratings and the money and what they want. For the purest people in baseball, we already gave you the runner on second base. We gave you the universal DH. We gave you the 3 innings and a pitcher. Now you're trying to bring in 16 teams. I think for teams like the Yankees, teams like the Dodgers, teams that have put a lot of money in front of this, invested a lot of money in their future, and now you're going to let 16 teams in. If I'm the Dodgers, I'm like, why did I just sign Mookie Betts for $380 million for 10 years? We could have made the playoffs for the next 10 years. But again, that's where the game is going. And again, for the people that everything that happens in the game, from the protesting to the way the game is covered, it's just it's one of these points where we have to get used to a woman first base coach. That's okay. And when change comes in a lot of waves. And you can't say, well, we're going to change this and not this. And again, if the Players Association agreed to it and the owners agreed to it, it means because the fans wanted it. So again, as a purist, my father automatically becomes a better manager. In 8 years, he only would have missed the playoffs maybe once or twice. So that would have given him a chance to win another World Series. But for everybody else, I think it's just it's unfortunate for the teams that spend a lot of money, but that's the way the game wants to be. So we got to go that way.
Well, speaking of your dad and your family, how is the family Guillén going to be taking in opening day? Full slate? Are you just going to have the TV on in the back? You could just be watching.
TV will be there. TV will be. Ozzie will be working. He does a pre and post game show. My brother will be watching. Yesterday I was watching on my phone while I played the game. I'm actually going to be here at the ballpark. We've heard that they're being really strict about going live from inside anything during the game. But I'll be tweeting. I'll be trying to get some pictures out. I talked to Joan Moncada today. He's excited. I'm excited for my guys that I'm friends with. I still think the Twins are going to come out here and roll the White Sox as much as I love the White Sox. But it's going to be exciting. I think like today, especially here in Chicago, there's a Puerto Rican player on the mound in Jose Barrios that I think he's going to be a candidate for the Cy Young. I think that Nelson Cruz in a 60-game season could add an MVP to his repertoire. So it's exciting because I know it's going to be really good baseball and these guys are ready to play and it's a beautiful day. So we're excited. It's going to be a fun time. And then fantasy baseball's back, so I got my 5 teams, so I'll be managing them throughout the day.
That's
what's the name of your fantasy baseball team?
Oh man, I got Libertadores, I got 463, I got the Adelos, I got one called La Vida Baseball, being Guillén. It's funny, but because it's a huge impact today. While I'm getting out of the car and I get a notification that the Braves have lost both their catchers due to the COVID situation. Both catchers tested positive. They cannot be on the field during this roster. So whoever was the third catcher that probably did not think that he was going to make the starting lineup for opening day in Atlanta is going to be there. And, these are things that are fun to watch. Unfortunately, they're sick, but it's like, rosters change. It's going to be who's got the most depth. I'm hoping that my guy, Bruce Maxwell, gets signed. He's the guy, for those people that don't know, that took the knee with the Oakland Athletics a couple years ago. He's a catcher. He should be on a squad right now.
Well, he actually he had an opportunity to be signed at the beginning of the year, and he turned it down because he felt like he was mistreated, and he is still bitter about it. So he would have to change his feelings on that.
Correct. I think that right now, him being in a big league squad, I think, from a strategic standpoint, anyone that could play, that can play baseball and still be active, I think the teams need to really, really, really have those rosters and ready to go, because you don't know. We saw it in Soto. Juan Soto, has to sit out opening day because he tested positive. He didn't know. He showed up to the ballpark thinking that he was going to be able to play, and then today with the 2 catchers for Atlanta. So it's going to be a year of, even with the 16 teams getting in, it's going to be a lot of strategies for guys that they're not used to. Again, the 3-batter rules being implemented, that's one thing. Runner on second base, the universal DH, which doesn't make a big difference, but it does. And then obviously this COVID situation, how do you build a roster in uncertainty? So it's going to be interesting because, again, how you use your bullpen, your starters, and we got a taste for it yesterday, and hopefully today we'll see every manager kind of dictate their way. We saw it yesterday, man. First game, Gabe Kapler with the Giants. They produced 1 run by going completely away from analytics, bunting the ball down the third baseline on a shift, and that runner scores from Pablo Sandoval, sacrifice fly. So the game is changing, but in some ways it's still going back to the old ways. So that's what's fun about opening day, all the different intricacies of all the 30 teams.
Yeah, but how about that base running from the Dodgers? You can't replicate that in numbers. I don't care what you say. Dave Roberts' team looks sharp.
They look sharp. I love the fact that they look sharp, because I think that there's no team out there, and nobody more than Dave Roberts has pressure to perform in a 60-game season. And for them, they have to come out. If they didn't have pressure before, they come out a couple days before opening day, and they announce a huge signing to a player like Mookie Betts. They're in it for real, and their guys are ready, man. They have a chip on their shoulder. I know a lot of people in the baseball world think that, they were robbed because of the Astros cheating. I think for them, they want to prove it and win it because they had a good team. They don't want to go down as a team that got robbed. They want to go down as a team that won it. And for them, I think they're ready. They're not messing around. I loved it that they scratched Kershaw. They said, if you're not 100%, you're not taking the mound. We got guys that can step up, and they did that. And that shows you that Dave Roberts is ready. And I like that Dodgers team, Julie, because I've always said this: Dave Roberts was successful because Dave Roberts in his career was never scared of doing the, running, playing the way, very an aggressive player. And when he came to the Dodgers, I thought we were going to see that. And we did very early. And then they went very analytical, a lot of moves that were by the book that didn't seem very Dave Roberts. I think that for them to succeed is let Dave Roberts be Dave Roberts. He's there for a reason. And they believed in him early on before he became the manager. And I think at this point, he has nothing to lose and just be Dave Roberts. And the team that played yesterday was a team that resembled the way of his career and the way that he managed. So I thought I was excited. I'm more excited about what I saw yesterday with the Dodgers than I have the past 2 years.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, definitely. It was a great game. And watching the base running, I mean, that's what's exciting, right? When you see that type of play on the field, it was really exciting to watch. And I think the fans are definitely now feeling more positive when it comes to that postseason and that World Series chance.
And the unity that they have in that clubhouse, you can tell right away. Mookie Betts has been there less than a year, less than 6 months, maybe less than 3 months around the players. Then the national anthem starts, and he has 2 of the bigger names in the Dodger franchise right now, respected by fans. He takes the knee, and his 2 teammates put his hand on his shoulder. That's bigger than the players taking the knee next to him.
Before we go, Ozzie, I'm sorry. Yeah. Continue.
No, I was saying that's a bigger deal because, a lot of people would say, well, why are they taking the knee? They're still keeping true to what they believe, for a national anthem, but they're showing his teammates support, and that cannot be easy. So for him to get that from those 2 big name guys that just stand right by him and be like, we're here for you, that shows you that they've connected, and that's a great nucleus to have in a clubhouse.
Now, before we go, Julie and Ozzie, I want us to put it out there. Who are we calling for this World Series this year?
Oh, wow.
Dodgers.
Dodgers who?
You know what? I think now with this 16-team playoff is going to be quite interesting, but I think that to win the World Series, I think the Dodgers are the most popular. I can see a Dodgers-Yankees World Series, especially after that pitching performance by Garrett Cole and kind of like the offense, how it woke up. But I wouldn't be surprised if one of them is knocked out. Again, the Houston Astros are out there to win, And Dusty Baker, it could be a 10-game season. He wants to get on the board with the World Series. So I think that there might be a couple teams that are a little bit under the radar that might come out swinging. But the favorites are going to be the Yankees and the Dodgers. But I think the Dodgers are definitely the best team in Major League Baseball right now, player for player, especially with the signing of Mookie Betts and the extension. We know that he's going to be there for a while, so he's going to want to put a show on. But I got the Dodgers, Yankees. But again, every year that I pick somebody, one of them gets knocked out. So it's going to be an interesting race.
Yeah, I'll second that, Ozzie. I also see a New York versus LA, East Coast, West Coast rivalry going down, taking it at the very end. Dodgers are built to
It hasn't
keep
happened.
all
It
the
hasn't
way.
happened in a long time. It hasn't happened. Both teams are good, and it hasn't happened in a very long time. And the Dodgers, they've had good teams for a very, very long time. Probably the biggest window ever opened in Major League Baseball. They've been good for 15 years and haven't been able to close it out. So I got them as the favorite. But again, I think that the Houston Astros are going to come out swinging, and if their pitching's healthy, what a beautiful story for them to say, "Oh, here we beat you guys. Okay, so much for the cheating." So I know that they're going for there. That's going to be an interesting run, and when they play each other, it's always going to be a rivalry.
Yeah, I agree. I see that East Coast, West Coast World Series coming as well.
All right. Well, it should be very interesting. There is so much baseball to play, and it all starts today, starting in just a few hours. I, for one, am so excited. Jen, Ozzie, always a pleasure. Thank you so much for being here today for this entire slate of LVB programming. We appreciate it. You can always check us out on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram for constant content having to do with the MLB season and updated breaking news. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. Enjoy opening day, everybody.
Bye.